Hey guys, it's the OC with BossCowboySports, where your voice matters. In today's video, I want to talk about the pending potential doom of Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper getting cut, and what the wide receivers' performance in the NFL Combine yesterday means for the Cowboys. Let's go. All right, guys, listen. Before I get into the content, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe these videos. Turn on your bell notification icons for the latest and greatest in Cowboy sports and news. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. And listen, based upon a report published today by CBS, Amari Cooper is on the chopping block. If you follow Boss Cowboy Sports, we've talked about this ad nauseum. The Cowboys would save approximately $16 million against the salary cap by cutting Amari Cooper, who's due for a $20 million salary somewhere around March 12th or 13th. I'm not a fan of this. I don't believe the Cowboys should cut Amari Cooper. I'm not sure, based upon the back-end performance of CeeDee Lamb at the end of the year, that he's ready to be a true number one receiver. We saw played out in the playoffs the benefit of having a true number one receiver, aka Cooper Kupp, with the Los Angeles Rams, and their winning of the Super Bowl by actually targeting and going to that number one receiver. However, we've also discussed on the channel at great length how our offensive coordinator and also this philosophy coming from the front office in terms of a receiver by committee approach. The Cowboys historically, they pay their offensive linemen, the ones they believe are good. They pay defensive linemen. They pay running backs. They hesitantly pay quarterbacks, right? It was a lot of back and forth to get Dak Prescott's deal done. Historically, they don't pay or like to pay, based upon their behavior, big money to wide receivers, aka Amari Cooper, with a reduced amount of targets. And I've just heard a lot of fanfare, man, that I don't really agree with or appreciate, and the storyline being completely manipulated that Amari Cooper shows up in games and then he disappears. Amari Cooper being up and down. Well, he's up and down because you're not throwing him the football. So if you target him less than you target a tight end, aka Schultz, if you target him less than you target a tight end, of course his production is going to be up and down. Of course he's going to disappear in games if he's not a part of the game plan. And if we look back at the season, we saw that repeatedly, that when he was targeted, the Cowboys offense got off to a great start. They won football games. They were much more consistent and explosive offensively. In games where we took whatever the defense gave us, well, we saw that didn't work quite as well because our offense stalled. We were up and down with receptions, with drops, and we just didn't get into the offensive flow that we got into when we saw Amari Cooper get the football. However, if the Cowboys are bent on the receiver by committee philosophy and bent on getting cheap labor through draft picks versus paying $20 million a year to Amari Cooper, they do actually have some options. And so I want to talk about a couple of the big winners from the Combine on yesterday. The wide receivers ran. They blazed the field, man. These guys are fast. And I will say this as a disclaimer. Some of these 40 times are not indicative of the field speed that you see from a few of these players, but some of them actually are, all right? Some of them actually are, and they actually verify that these guys are all that you think they are, and that these guys are just fast receivers, all right? So just in recapping, listen, guys, there were 6 to 7 guys that ran sub 4.35. 6 to 7 guys, and I'm just gonna cover them real quick and talk about what that means for the Dallas Cowboys, right? So out of Baylor, you had Tyquan Thornton. He ran, and this is official times now because it updated, a 4.2840. That's sub 4.3. That is absurd. That is ridiculous. He was slotted to be a 5th or 6th round pick. But of course, with that 40 time, teams fall in love with speed. So look at his stock to definitely be on the rise, whereas he was projected to be 5th or 6th. Look for him to move up in the draft. Also, Vila Jones, Tennessee receiver. Now, this guy ran fast and looked fast on the field, and he just verified it, all right? And so did Taekwon as well. But this guy was a Senior Bowl standout. This guy was a blazing 40 time of a 4.31 that he ran on yesterday out of the University of Tennessee. Now, previous to this, he was projected to be a 3rd or 4th round pick. Look for him to be in the first day with running that 4.31 for sure. Also, number 3, Calvin Austin, Memphis product. Now, he's a smaller guy. He's a 5'10 guy, a 170-pound receiver. So he's more of in the slot Tyreek Hill mismatch type of mode, which, by the way, has been very successful in recent years in the NFL in terms of a model and a way to get smaller, shiftier receivers on your 2nd, 3rd, and sometimes 4th cornerback and create mismatches up and down the field. So he caught for over 1,000 yards at Memphis, but he's a small guy. He ran a 4.32, and hey, look for him to get some love, definitely with the evaluators, and we can back this up with a strong performance at his pro day. All right, now, Alec Pierce ran a 4.33. Alec Pierce is a bigger receiver. He's a 6'2", 208-pound receiver, and I like that. 4.33, he's 6'2", about 208 pounds, out of the University of Cincinnati. I think that overall, he's an intriguing prospect because he can high point the ball. He has different gears of speed that he likes to run routes in, and this is just based on the film that I saw, and that he does a lot of things well. So he's an intriguing guy. Look, he had like a 4th, 5th round grade. Look for him to go up in the draft as well. You also got Danny Gray. Danny Gray is an SMU guy, 6'2". He's a JUCO transfer, 6'2", about 200 pounds, 199 pounds. He goes 4.33 as well. 4.33 as well. So look for him to get some more love and moving up from that 3rd or 4th round type atmosphere into a higher caliber draft pick if he can show up with a really good pro day. And my last guy that I will get to and kind of let you know is actually him. So what does all this mean, right? What does all this mean for the Cowboys? It's further strengthening the ideal and the philosophy that we don't have to pay receivers based upon the running of some of these guys, and that we can get speed, we can get value, right? We can get value in the draft because the Cowboys have, you know, a pick in the 1st, a pick in the 2nd, the 3rd, a pick in the 6th, and I believe they have a pick in the 4th or the 5th. All right. So with some of these guys moving up in the draft, with some of these guys showing elite top end speed, and the thing about speed, you can coach a lot of stuff, but man, you cannot coach speed. You cannot coach guys that can catch the football and just flat out run away from people just because they're faster than you, right? You can coach technique. You can coach start, stop. What I do love about Amari Cooper, he's a fast guy. He's a 4.4 guy himself, has enough breakaway speed to do damage in the open field and run away from people. And even he states that, hey, it's multiple ways to beat people as a receiver, right? You don't have to just be the fastest guy to beat people. But I'm gonna tell you something. That speed does not hurt. And it strengthens the argument and the statement that the Cowboys are potentially making and trying to save the money against the salary cap by getting rid of their #1 receiver, that they can go out in this draft and that they have some options and they could potentially get another fast receiver. That's what that means in terms of what we saw yesterday at the combine. And we had 6, 7 guys run sub, 4.35 40s, which is just blazing ridiculous speed. And so if these guys can halfway catch the ball and halfway run a route, well, the philosophy behind receiver by committee is strengthened. And hey, we can go cheap, we can get fast guys, we can get guys that are suitable, and we can make our offense work. So that's the bad thing for Amari Cooper out of what we saw out of this combine and the potential guys coming out. Guys, let me know what you think about this video. And hey, turn on your bell notification icons for the latest and greatest in Cowboy sports and news. Don't forget to follow Boss Cowboy Sports on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. You can follow me, the OC100, on Instagram, on Twitter, not on Instagram. Follow me on Twitter, the OC100. Until next time, guys, see you.